Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sports Channel. I'm your host Mark Philpott and it's great to have you all with us again today. If you're a new viewer today, welcome aboard. It's great to have you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell button because then you'll be notified every time that we drop a video. We also have a great presence on social media, so you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram under the Global Sports Channel and keep up to date with all the interviews, news and reviews we do across the sporting world. Here on the Global Sports Channel, we're interviewing amazing athletes from across the world of all different ranges and genders, and we talk to them about their specific journey in the world of sport. And today we're going all the way over to Ireland to talk to our guest. She's a phenom in the world of motorsport, and she's got some really great stories to tell us today. So it's a quick hello right now to our guest, who is Alyx Coby. Alyx, welcome to the Global Sports Channel. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And tell me, have we got a bit of sunshine in Ireland today? Have you got some sunny weather?
We do. Yeah, we really do. The past few days have been gorgeous. I've been outside myself, a bit sunburned, but can't complain.
Well, I tell you what, I've spent a lot of time in your beautiful country, and I must say about 90% of the time that I came and visited, it was raining all the time. So it's nice that you've got to some sunshine.
That is to be expected.
So,
I don't think anybody comes over expecting sunshine.
Sunshine, no. So for the sake of all our wonderful viewers and listeners around the world today, and we're actually being listened to in over 103 countries, so you're getting a huge population around the world listening to your show today. Whereabouts in Ireland are you living? Where are you based?
In Kildare. It'd be near enough to Dublin.
Yeah, so near enough to Dublin, not far away at all, yeah.
Yeah, or south.
And are you a crazy, other than the sport that you're interested in, you're a crazy football fan or a rugby fan or hockey fan?
Not really. I am a bit of a Manchester United supporter, so I would watch the odd match with my dad, but I'm not mad into other sports.
Not crazy on that. So have you got a sporty have you got a sporty family?
My older brother played Gaelic. He was actually quite good at it, so there is a bit of football there. I did karate for a while.
Oh,
got
cool.
up to a brown belt, so there was that. It kept me really fit for racing, so I continued that, and I got 2 gold medals in the Worlds actually.
Oh,
so
well,
it's kind of something on the CV.
Yeah, congratulations. That's really good. It's a great sport, isn't it, karate? Because it really makes you be disciplined, doesn't it?
Discipline, yeah. A lot of respect too.
Yeah.
Grows a personality too.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're going to talk a lot about motorsport today because that's your real passion, and you can tell us a little bit later how you use the karate in your motorsport journey. That might be interesting. But motorsport's an interesting one because you are a young lady and you're starting off in a sport that we probably know as a male-dominated industry. What made you want to get into motorsport, and when did that journey first start for you?
Well, before I was born, my dad raced karts, so I grew up around a racing track. Because after he stopped racing, he grew a team. So we had a really good team. They were like good talent. And then just when I was 6, my grandparents and my dad had a conversation. They were like, "Oh, we'll give her a go, see if she likes it." So I went out and they were like, No, she's never coming back again. But apparently I took to it like duck to water. So yeah, it's ever since I was 6 really that they were like, this is just something that she was bound to do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So how long, that was 10 years ago, was it?
11 years ago.
11, so you're 17 now. Wow.
Yeah.
And was it one of those things where you tried it for the first time, you just thought, right, I just want to do this all the time now? Was it something that just became addictive? Yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit of a petrol head, like straight away.
So your dad had to kick you out of the cart, did he?
Yeah. I'd be up at the bed nearly every Sunday morning when my dad didn't have work. Like, are we going to the track today?
And how far away do you live from the track that you go to?
40 minutes.
40 minutes? Oh, that's not too bad.
To an hour. So, no, it's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
The tracks aren't too far around here, considering the country's quite small. So, everywhere would kind of be an hour, 3 hour distance from where we are.
Right. So what was the start of it all in terms of, okay, you had that excitement of getting into the kart and all the rest of it. Did you start to think about doing races and actually participating?
I think I was too young to start racing, so I had 2 years to, take a liking to it before I started racing, build a confidence to actually go out on track motor karts. So, yeah, I had 2 years of just pottering around on my own, and then sometimes a mixture of different karts. And then we said, you know what, we'll get my license and we'll just go out. And you know what, if I don't like it, I don't like it. But I loved it straight away. I could not be racing. I can't see myself not racing, to be honest.
And what's the process to get your license in Ireland to race in a go-kart? Do you have to go through a special program or something?
Don't really know. You have to get a medical done to make sure you're okay with your eyesight and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously to seeing colours because of the flags. But it was so long ago that I can't really. I think I'd say it was just a medical that we had to do.
Right. Okay.
And then when you're a novice, you get be put on black plates. So when you're set up on the grid, that you put straight to the back, just so you're not leading a race at some point. And then the marshals and the COC, who the clerk of the course would be in charge of everything. He would just at the start of the day would have a quick conversation with you, just having a rundown of rules and regulations.
Right. So you were pretty much introduced to it in quite a formal way. You went through the normal process of introduction. What was it like those, first few times when you were in that kart shooting off around the track? Did, I haven't been in a lot of go-karts in my life. I think I've only done it twice, actually. But my memory serves me right. It's one of those things where you're very, very low to the ground. You feel like you're really connected to the ground in some way, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, very low to the ground. It's a bit scary sometimes. The seat, if you have the seat so low, sometimes you'll come in and it'll be scraping off the ground while you're driving around.
Oh,
it's
really?
A bit mad.
Really?
Yeah, it is a bit mad. It is.
Wow.
But it's safe. It's all good.
Yeah. So when you started off, what were some of the speeds that you were doing in your kart? Like, how fast would they go?
70 mile per hour.
70 miles an hour?
Yeah, now I do 120.
Wow.
They're pretty fast. Yeah, they're fast. I know people will be listening and be like, oh, rental car, and it's the same thing. It is not the same thing. It's so different.
70 miles an hour as an 8-year-old going around a go-kart track.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. Yeah, it is
that blows my mind. And your mother and father let you do this. Yeah. That's incredible. Fantastic. So you just fell in love with speed, did you? Did you love the speed aspect of it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You have friends and they're playing football or they're doing dancing, Irish dancing or something, and then you're here coming in with greasy, oily hands all the time. You don't expect a girl to be doing that, but yeah.
So what did your friends at school say when they found out that you'd fallen in love with this go-kart thing? Did they kind of, was there why are you doing that? Why are you doing that sport?
Everyone was kind of oh, it's just as I said, people just expected it to be rental carts, bumper carts or something. And it's taken me a long while for people to realise that no, that's not what it is.
Yeah, no, this is serious stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people still don't really realise. But in school, my teachers and stuff are really, really supportive. They think it's amazing what I'm doing. So I think they have a good understanding of what it is.
Yeah.
But other people still they do, but they don't. They don't really know until they're there. Even people that at home that would be oh yeah, really pushing me to do it, they'd still be I beat you. It's not even that hard, but it's difficult.
Yeah, I bet.
It is difficult.
And what about when you first started? Were there other girls also getting into the go-kart world, or were you sort of a girl amongst all the guys there?
There was another girl, a year or so, a few months older than me, that I started with the same time. See, our dads raced together, so we got into the sport the same way.
All right.
But yeah, I still race against her to this day, actually. So, and just year by year, there's always been more girls. I'd say there was about 9 girls out in our last Irish race, and then in Europe, it's a whole different story. There's loads of girls actually. I think there's like probably 9 or 10 in my class, and then other classes. I think it's great to see how big that's grown and how much they're pushing the whole female dominant or male dominant sports. I
Yeah.
think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that we're a big fan of here on the Global Sports Channel, is making sure that lots of women get opportunities not only to be interviewed but also supported through the different things that we do. It's great to hear that a lot more girls are getting into it. Have you also seen more girls getting into it off the track? So are there more girls coming into the other side of the sport, being engineers and mechanics and pit crew and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, in Europe there are a lot of female mechanics, bringing drivers to the grid and stuff, and that again is something great to see. Um, because I think, people don't expect a female to have that sort of talent where, they can take a car together or they can take a car apart even and put it back together. So yeah, that has been growing a lot as well. Not so much at home though. I feel like we're more into the whole racing side of it.
Let's go back to when you first started racing in Ireland. You just mentioned that you're racing in Europe now. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But let's talk about when you're racing in Ireland. Can you remember your first ever really serious race?
Really serious one. Oh, I think they were all pretty serious for me at a young age, as if like I was like, wow, like I'm out here. But my first, looking back, the most important race would have probably been my first win in cadets,
Right.
which is where I started when I was 8. So that's a big thing because like I was growing up and I was like, oh, Dad, I'm never going to win a race. I'm not doing this anymore. And then boom,
You won
winning
a race.
races, and it was great. Yeah, great feeling.
Nothing like getting a win under the belt to get the motivation, inspiration going.
Exactly. And it's like, there's always going to be bad days, but those bad days just made that win even better. So
Yeah.
it's that kind of way.
So when did you get to the stage where you thought, okay, I want to take this pretty seriously, this whole motorsport thing, and I want to see, what I can do with it? How old were you when that kind of dream came along?
I'd say I was 12 or 13 when I started juniors. Well, obviously when I moved up a class, and I think I just matured a bit, and I said, well, I matured, but also my talent grew, so I could see myself, I could see the bigger picture in what I was doing. So obviously I was like, you know what, I'm going to pursue this, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I always want to be a part of the sport, whether it is engineering, mechanicking, or just even commentating around a grid. Like I always want to be a part of this sport. So right now I am pursuing it to try be a professional driver. We'll see how that goes.
So for any young people out there today, whether they be girls or boys watching this video and listening to you, what piece of advice would you give them if they're just starting out and they think, oh, this go-kart thing could be cool, I'd like to get into it? What piece of advice would you say to them to get started?
I think having a lot of patience and confidence in what you can achieve with time and practice. Definitely when it comes to the sport, practice makes perfect. Like tracks that I race at now, from when I started racing when I was 8, I'm still going over all the time, trying to pick up a tenth or 2/10, just trying to get every little piece put together perfectly. And it's never going to be perfect. There is always a little bit more. So I think patience and confidence in what you're doing and what you can achieve.
And where do you get guidance from in terms of coaching and support when it comes to your on-track efforts? Where does when did that first start? Did you have a coach when you were younger?
No. It was just me and my dad. And then a year or two ago, like it's only been a year or two, where Nikki Daly has picked me up and took me under her wing. Nikki is she's going to the Olympics for hockey, so she's a professional athlete. So she has driven me massively. She's really into motorsport. Her dad raced when she was younger, and her uncle raced too. So she has like a big heart for motorsport, and especially for females in motorsport. She has an initiative, Formula Female and Go Girls, which just brings girls that don't have a clue about this sport and brings them in, and, you know, shows like, even though you're a female, like, this is something you can do. So for me to have Nikki by my side is amazing. She really, really pushes me when it comes to training, like the mental side of things. And I think that's been a massive difference in my career for the past 2 years, is having someone like that pushing me.
Well, I'll let you into a little secret, Alyx. We've had Nikki on the Global Sports Channel show, and you're going to be able to watch her episode shortly. And
well, that's going to be interesting.
see what she's got to say. But some of those initiatives that you mentioned that Nikki's been in charge of, we'll put the links to her Formula Female in the show notes today, so people can check that out and see exactly what Alyx was just sharing about there. But I guess it gives you a lot of encouragement, particularly talking to somebody who's, you know, a Olympic representative of your country, who's been through there. She's a bit older than you as well, so she's got experience that she can pass on. I guess that's really, really invaluable for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, the past 2 years has been a massive difference for me.
Yeah. And have you seen your results improve dramatically as a result of having that level of support?
Yeah, with confidence, definitely. And I feel like confidence actually, as I said, is a big part of this whole sport. And Nikki has given me a huge chunk of confidence when it comes to what I can achieve and what I'm doing. So definitely is the biggest difference lately.
So one of the things that we want to also talk about and highlight on our show is, you know, the challenges that confront a young person like yourself who's starting off in their sport. You've mentioned your family, particularly your father, a couple of times already. I guess there's a lot of, you know, onus and pressure and reliance on the family to support you when you're starting off in the journey, because there's literally nobody else, is there? That's who you rely on.
Yeah, my family have been really good that way. Like, even my grandparents never missed a race up until COVID. Like, it's a massive family thing. And I think it has taken a lot for my parents to support me when it comes to funding and just even trying to get time off work, which they have, and it's been great. But I think as I'm getting older, that's going to struggle more. As I want to, like, pursue this more, the whole funding is going to be more difficult. And I think that's the biggest issue with this sport, is it takes a lot of funding to keep going. And I think that's why it's a lot of talent gets lost, is with that issue. But hopefully I will gather funding to continue my journey with racing, and don't have to rely on my poor dad.
Don't call him poor, because I'm sure he's loved every minute of it, that's for sure. Now,
definitely.
When it comes to the sport of go-karting in Ireland, is it a big sport? Is there a lot of people doing it? Are there a lot of clubs?
Sadly, no. I think rugby takes over. But it's grown more. I feel like a lot of talent has come along in younger drivers, as I think our youngest class is the biggest class. Like, I feel like that grows every year more and more, which is great to see, because that means there's going to be moving up talent. But I think it's getting bigger. It's not as big as other sports are, and not a lot of people have a good understanding of what it is we actually do. But as I said, it is growing, and I think at some stage it will be as big as any other sport. But I'm really pushing that anyway. I want that to happen.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I think as a novice when it comes to go-karting, I wouldn't really appreciate how fast they go and what the challenges are until you're actually standing there next to a track watching everybody going at high speed. I remember when I first went to my first Formula One race, and I was blown away by the speed of those things when they go past you. And I just thought, how can a human being control that around a corner and not crash it? Like, it's just phenomenal. And here you are sitting that close to the ground. Now, of course, go-karts are single-seaters, so what's the progression now as you start to go up in the motorsport world? What level do you go to after you move out of go-karts? What's the next natural step for you?
Formula 4. Or either Formula 4 or Formula 3. I want to, like, my goal is to get into the W Series, and that would be an F3 car.
Okay.
So I want to push on to single seaters, but in this sport, there's so many different paths. Like, there's so many different things you can do. But at the moment, my eyes are set on single seaters. But
Okay.
whatever way I get pushed, whatever path I get pushed onto,
Now, you
it's going to
mentioned
be something I pursue.
you mentioned W Series, and for a lot of our listeners, they won't know what that is. Can you explain to us what the W Series is all about?
So the W Series is this new thing that's after coming along. It's been here about 3 years now, and it's a grid of female drivers from around the world that have come together from different talents of motorsports and have come together into this class to, you know, battle out each other's talents. And it's a fully funded initiative. So it's like, as I was talking about funding, see, they won't have that problem, those drivers. So it is all based on talent, which I think is a big thing, is to be able to pick from talent and not who has the most money to get them there. And I think the W Series now this year is going to be alongside the Formula 1 grid for 8 of their rounds, which I think is great for pushing their sport, which looks fantastic, which has me really excited to, you know, kind of push my way up there. But I think after the W Series, it opens a lot of doors for doing loads of different things, whether it is then pursuing the single-seater dream and getting into F1, or if you're going into GT cars, like loads of different things you could be doing afterwards.
Now, you talked about cost, obviously, and a lot of people know that, you know, motor racing is a very expensive sport, especially when you're looking at the pinnacle of the sport in F1. But if you look at back down to go-karting, how much is a 120-mile-an-hour go-kart worth these days, these racing karts that you have? What's the cost of one of those?
Be letting you in on all my secrets. It's a very personal question.
I'm not saying yours specifically, but if you give us a general ballpark so people can understand what the cost of these things are.
Well, on my go-karts that I use now, I usually use them for a few races and then put them up for sale. And so for people who want to start off, so there is like a range of what you could do if you're starting off. You know, you could start with like a 4-year-old kart, and be maybe like 200 to 500 euro to get the chassis.
Yep.
Like that's for like the bones of it.
Yep.
And then you have an engine. And then, oh God, engines that they can go from, I'd say, 500 to like 4 grand. Like the range for an engine price is unreal.
Yeah.
But tires range from like 100 to 120 euro as well. So, you know, there's little things, like there's little accessories, can I say, to build your own go-kart. So it can be pricey if you want the best of the best. And then it can go down to affordable when it's something, you know, you want to tinker around with.
Okay, so it's really like most things in life, you get what you pay for. If you want to have a budget version, you can get one, right? And if you want to get the top, you're paying top dollar. Is it easy to attract sponsors in the go-karting world? Is there a lot of sponsors out there that are particularly looking at young girls like you to support them?
I hope so. Yeah, I feel like there is. Me personally, I haven't come across a lot at the moment, because of COVID, as I haven't been doing a lot of racing. So at the moment, for me, that's something I'm working towards, is, building up a brand for myself that sponsors will appeal to. But yeah, sponsors love motorsport. It's something different. It's something that they can put a sticker on and be like, we're sponsoring this driver. And with social media for motorsports has grown a lot as well. I feel like it is a big platform for social media, which sponsors love. So hopefully in the next while, we're pumping in the sponsors.
Yeah, very good. Now, you talked earlier about going to Europe to race. When was the first time you went to Europe to race, and where did you actually go to race?
In 2018, I raced the World Finals in Le Mans, which would have been my first time going into Europe, apart from doing the odd race in the UK when I was younger. So the Le Mans Finals, I got there from placing third in my championship at home, which is then where you get a ticket to go over. So it's cost friendly that way. Which I got there, and it was so intimidating. There was people from all over the world that have been doing this for ages, and they were boys, and it was like really, really intimidating. And I didn't do very well, and then I said, I'm going to give this a go next year. So I then went the following year from placing third in the championship again, and I got there, and I wasn't as intimidated, but there was still that intimidation from being an only girl and like having a grid of like 120, 140 drivers from loads of different countries. Like, that's a lot of talent brought all together, because most of the drivers got there the same way I did, from being top 3 in their country. Like, that's big.
Yeah.
And
So do you race on the main track at Le Mans, or is it a shortened version of the track?
No, there's a karting track.
Oh, there's a karting track. Yeah, I was envisaging you guys going around the massive Le Mans track, and
no.
Okay, so there is a karting track. Okay. Yeah,
there is. And then, but on the way to the track, it's mad, because on the way to the go-kart track, there is you actually drive on the Le Mans track to get there, so it's really cool. And then
I'm sure that's inspiring in a way, right? To actually do that.
Oh yeah. Going, just even being able to make my way to Europe full stop was, like, wow. Because when I was younger, I was always like, so when I get older, like, what am I gonna do? Because I can't be doing this when I'm like 20 or something, can I? Like, am I gonna move up? And then going to Europe, I was like, do you know what? I actually have a great talent. I can move up.
Yeah. So yeah, brilliant.
It was a bit of there was a hit of reality there. And then I continued on. My first ever race in seniors, so seniors over here would be 15. It's 15 now, but it was 16 and up. So I am now racing against my dad's friends, like people my dad raced against, and my uncle would have raced against. So it's like, I'm only 17.
That's unfair.
Like, that's a wide range of talent from them racing from before I was born.
Yeah, but I bet it's really cool when you beat them, though.
Yeah. Not for them, though. Definitely not from them.
I got beaten by a 17-year-old girl. Yeah.
The first race we had back home, so the first proper race we did was 2 weekends ago. And it was the first proper race I did against the seniors, and I was coming in from every race placing first or second, and they were like, they'd come up to me and they're like, oh, you've done great this weekend, like, yeah, it's really great to see you up there. And I know deep down they're just like, oh. But it's funny, like, it's really good. I feel bad for them though.
I'm sure they'll be able to cope with it. So tell me, what have you done in the last couple of years where you felt that, what have you learned? What are those things that have made you go faster? What are the things that you've focused on, both in the kart and out of the kart, that have made you go quicker?
I think I've just been more determined because I've come so far, and I think, I'm putting in so much hard work, and I'm like, "Do you know what? I'm gonna push this. I'm really gonna give it my all to get where I want to go." Like nothing happens overnight. It's gonna take a lot for me to get to the place I want to be. So from away from the track, it's, training, going on the sim, just really getting everything I can, like doing a bit of revision on tracks that I've been to, like over GoPro, then like looking at other footage from tracks that I'm about to go to, so I have an insight on where I'm going. So it's little bits, like you pick in little bits and just put it all together, which is good off the track. And then you get to the track, and I think, building up notes is a great way. That's something I've started doing recently, is having a notebook there and pen, and just being able to write down not only what I've done on track, but setup changes that they've done to the kart, so I have the technical knowledge as well on what's going on. So it's good for when I get off the track for feedback, well, this didn't work, this really did work. And I think that helps with not only me but everyone that is trying to help. I'm not coming and be like, oh yeah, that felt good, and not being able to tell them why it felt good. So yeah, and little bits like that, just it is little things that improve every day. Going for a run every day builds up a good stamina for when you're in the kart, to like be able to be put under pressure for so long.
So how physical are these karts? Like I'm assuming at 120 miles an hour, you're getting thrown around quite a bit, even though you're obviously harnessed in with your seatbelts. But is it quite a physical experience?
Seatbelts? You think they're seatbelts? There are no seatbelts.
No seatbelts. No seatbelts.
No seatbelts.
No lap belts. I mean, across the lap.
No.
None.
You were sitting in a seat holding a steering wheel.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely not doing this sport again. It's too dangerous.
No, it is pretty safe. You see that everyone has a seat that is, you can get custom seats, so you're stuck in there,
Right.
But yeah, it is very physical, and there's a big difference from being physically fit and being kart fit.
Yep.
No one thinks there's a difference, but honestly, I didn't think there was a difference until COVID.
Yeah.
Until I'd spent 3 to 6 months out of a kart, and then jumping back into one. My ribs were in bits. Like, it's a big shock to the system. Okay. Yeah, my ribs. We have a rib protector that we wear, and then sometimes, over that time that I wasn't racing, I was training, and I was training a lot, and I lost a load of weight, so the seat where my ribs were actually didn't fit me anymore, so I was bopping side to side, and was coming in like, I'm not car fit anymore. I thought I was doing all this training to be fine, but no. So it takes a long time to then get back in the rhythm. Like, there were drivers in the UK, like top tier drivers, that were going out, and their body physically was in bits, just from they did a lot of training. But being car fit is a whole different, you can't simulate the way your muscles move in a kart. And even your arms to be so tight, you have to like hold on for dear life with these things. Like, you are gripped onto a wheel and just trying to give it your all and get it into the corners, and it's really physical.
I can see how passionate you are. So do you get sore arms as well? Like, are your arms really hanging off when you finish a race?
When you start, yeah. When I moved up into the bigger kart, it did, but it only lasted like a month or two, because when it came to me, I was out every weekend. I was putting in a lot of time and effort, so these things didn't last a whole lot of time.
Now, you see in Formula One, the drivers doing a lot of exercise on their neck because of the G-forces. Do you have to do neck exercises as well for go-karts?
Yeah, we can do it. It doesn't make a massive difference for us. Some drivers, when they're out on practice, will have a heavier helmet,
Yep.
like an old helmet that they just got painted over and over again. One of my teammates does it, and he'd wear that in testing. So you have the weight on your neck for good practice. Training at home, you can use resistant we like myself and Nikki, when we're training, would use resistant bands. So you'd have a resistant band wrapped around one side of your neck and somebody pulling it from the other side.
Yep.
And you have to like push the other side, and that builds up good muscle.
Yep.
But as I said, when it comes to being kart fit, that comes along with it as well. Being out all the time and trying to keep your neck still is a great exercise as well, just naturally doing it.
Yeah, I bet it is as well. So in terms of the races that you're competing in at the moment, what are the distances? Like, how many laps do you do in a typical race weekend?
Around 12 to 21 laps.
Okay.
And usually, like, the slowest the lap time would be at home is, like, the minimum would be a minute. So you'd be out for less than 20 minutes usually. But
still, it's intense for the whole time. Like, every second counts, basically, right?
Yeah, because you're thinking of every little thing, You're thinking of going forward, and you're trying not to worry about what's behind you and what's, like, coming up. You're trying to think of, all my turning angles, my exit speed, my entrance speed. Little things, like your head's going 90 all the time.
And what about mechanical side of it? Are you getting, as you get older, are you getting more and more interested in the mechanical side of the go-kart?
Yeah. As I've gotten older, I've been able to, give in a hand on, getting the cart ready, and then, like, stripping it down for going home. Or even, I have to be...
Okay, so mechanical side of it, yeah?
Yeah, so I think, as I've got older, I've kind of had to adjust to that side of things, giving a hand on getting a cart ready to get out onto the track, and then, stripping it down to go home, and then even, having to change setups, like on a late notice. Say we're getting ready to go to the grid and we're on the grid, and then it starts lashing rain and we have to change the whole setup from a wet setup, or from a dry setup to a wet setup. It's like, you have one mechanic. It's good to have another, like, even if it's half a mechanic there with you. And then my little brother is 7, so at home it's just me, my dad, and my brother. So there's one mechanic, so I kind of have to give a dig out when it comes to my little brother, getting him all ready when we're out at similar times.
Yeah, right. So your little brother's racing as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think we got his go-kart when he was, like, on his third Christmas.
Brilliant.
Had him out straight away.
So is he beating you yet?
Nah. Not yet.
I bet there's some real competition going on, though, between brother and sister.
Yeah, he's only 7, but my God, you don't know what they do be thinking when they're driving around, but he does knock the ball out of the park when it comes to it. Like, he had his first Motorsport race there, the weekend that just passed, and he won every race. Every lap of every race, apart from the last lap in the final, where he got passed, and he was like, "Oh, that's horrible."
Wow!
I know. After winning everything and then beat on the last lap.
And is he racing against kids his own age? Like, is he racing against 7-year-olds as well?
Yeah, they have a new class from when I was younger. It's called Bambinos.
Okay.
And he then started. Yeah, so it's like babies. I think it's 5 years to 7 years.
5.
In that range, because then you start cadets when you're 8. So he is raring to get in cadets. He can't wait. I swear, every weekend we come back from a track, he's like, "Dad, you need to get me a cadet now. All the boys are driving cadets. I need to get out there." So he's eager.
I think if I ever took up the sport, I'd probably have to start off in the Bambino group, because that's where I'd only have any chance, I think. Now, what about crashes? Have you had any bad crashes?
Yes, I have, actually. Never broken a bone though. Never dislocated or sprained anything. Luckily, thank God, touch wood. When I was in cadets, I think I was 9 or 10. I was coming through a corner, and coming out of the corner, it was like first lap. There were 5 carts side by side. Now, it's not that, you see that those carts are smaller, so you wouldn't see the issue. But when there are 5 of us lined up together trying to get through one corner in the same line, it does not work out. Sadly, I was on the outside, and they all just scooped in together, and I got hit into a tractor tire. And the way I can't remember, but the way I hit the tractor tire hit the cart up 15 feet in the air, and I fell out and landed in this tractor tire, arms out, legs out, like in the middle of it.
Oh my God.
Just like fell down and crushed me. But
wow.
I was okay.
See, this is why you need seatbelts. You wouldn't have fallen out of the cart if you had a seatbelt.
I think I was better off falling out of the cart than being so high
You put me in touch with these people that run the sport. I'm going to tell them about seatbelts. They need to have seatbelts.
Yeah, well, that's as bad as it gets. Apart from I was in Spain. This isn't bad, but I was in Spain. I was in Zuera. What was it? It wasn't last month. It was in May. Late May, and I had a coming together. Now, it wasn't a bad crash, but I went through so much body work that week. Like, so much body work. There was so much demolition. It was mad. Like, I had cars on top of me, underneath me, and I was like, where are they going?
Sounds to me like you need a it sounds to me like you need a panel beater as a sponsor. Or a paint shop or something, yeah?
Oh, honestly.
So as we know, COVID-19 has put a lot of issues around the world for all of us during this time, and no more for sport. How's it affected your sports journey having COVID-19 around?
It's definitely a sting, because I was supposed to be in England this weekend racing for the British Championship, but I don't think I can do some of the British Championship now, because England have brought in a 10-day quarantine after you come back. So not this weekend, but the weekend after, I have my home championship race. So if I was racing in England this weekend, I couldn't do the second round at home. So there's like this big like issue that has come about now that has like put a hinder in my plans, which isn't great. So we kind of have to work our way around that and try to figure out how we're going to do the majority of each racing. Hopefully in the next few Irish rounds, I'll be like leading the championship. I'll be able to miss a few races. Hopefully it goes forwards rather than backwards.
Yeah.
With how we're going to be traveling.
And what about for the rest of the year? What does your schedule and opportunities look like for racing back over in Europe? Are you heading over to Europe again?
Yeah, I'll be heading over to Europe on the 22nd of July, and I'll be there for 12 to 14 days. We're going to Italy, Castelletto, and that'll be our third round of the Euro Series. And then the end of August, we will be going to Belgium. We'll be going to Genk for the last round. Okay. And then the Euro finals are in Adria in Spain, and I think around November, and hopefully then not racing, but the odd bit of just sponsorship racing we'll be doing in America in October. My first time going over to the States.
Oh, fantastic.
So hopefully that goes ahead, and then hopefully finish off the British Championship and Championship at home, and then run through the winter racing in England.
Wow, you've got a busy schedule coming up. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you must love the travel side of it as well, getting around to see other countries and new cultures and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Considering I'm contained at a track, we don't actually get to see much.
Right, okay.
Which is sad. Yeah. You know, everyone's like, "Oh, you're going on holidays." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going on holidays. I'm going to a track where I'm going to be spending, like, not nice. It's not nice at all." But I think I'd rather be racing every weekend than going on holidays to Ibiza and all.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so now the $64 million question for you, Alyx. Where would you like to be in 5 years from now with your vision on motorsport and where you want to be in motorsport?
Oh my God, that's such a difficult question for this sport. You know, I'd love to sit in an F1 kart or an F1 car even. And, you know, it's a big thing to then pursue racing in F1, but, you know, it's never like far-fetched. But at the moment, as I said, working towards W Series and whatever path that's going to push me towards, it's hard to say where I'm going to be in 5 years, but definitely being sat in an F1 car is, you know, everyone's dream, whether it's realistic or not. But I don't think at the moment it's going to be far-fetched to get there, even just to be around the paddock, whether it's on a technical side.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think you can get there, and it's all about belief and chasing your dreams. So I'm going to demand that you come back on our show once you get your first F1 slot and have a chat to us. But listen, Alyx, we've rushed through our time today. It's been great having you on the show, and we're going to have a up close and personal following of your journey, because you're going to be one of our Love Athletes global team as we head forward, and we're going to have you back on the show from time to time talking about how you're going in your career and what things are happening. We want you to inspire more girls to get out there, as well as boys, to get out there and chase their dream in motorsport. So it's been fantastic having you on the show today. Thanks very much for giving me your time. And
thanks for having me.
Well, welcome on board, as they say, and we'll be following your progress, that's for sure.
Yeah, super excited.
Good one. Thanks, Alyx. Have a great weekend.
No problem. Thank you so much.
So there we are. Alyx Coby, a very exciting young girl who's aiming for the top. She wants to be a Formula One driver, and who's to say that she can't do it? Not us, that's for sure. So if you're watching the Global Sports channel for the first time, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check out our social media on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. As I just mentioned, Alyx is going to be one of our prime candidates in the global trial for our Love Athletes platform. Now, this Love Athletes platform is where we're going to be supporting these young athletes to try and live their dreams, and we're doing all sorts of different things to help them, whether it be raise money to get them sponsorship, connect them to different brands around the world, and support them in all sorts of different ways on and off the track. You can follow that journey as well on loveathletes.com, and there'll be more about that coming up shortly on the show. So there we go, the end of another show. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Mark Philpott, and I will be back again soon with another interview right here on the Global Sports Channel. Until then, stay safe and stay well, everyone.